Okay, let's call this meeting to order. We'll call it early at 1:25 p.m.
Travis Hearn, did you start the little recorder?
Yes.
Thank you. Rudy Castellano,
Present.
Mike Cousins,
Present.
Mike Martinez,
Present.
Travis Martinez.
Present.
Mike Sweeney called and said he wouldn't be able to make it, so he's excused. Counselor Michael Montoya and Travis Hearn.
Present.
There is a quorum.
Guess we have 8 things on the agenda. Have a motion to approve.
I still move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez. All in favor? Sorry about that.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I've read the minutes. I wasn't present, so I don't know under the Robert's Rules of Order if that's what we're going by. If I could actually make a motion in any form or even second the motion, but I will second it if Mike will make it. You were present, right, Mike? Yes.
You haven't approved that since.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike Martinez, a second by Rudy. All in favor? Opposed? Public input.
I did not receive any public input for this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Donnie.
Mr. Chairman, before we get started on the actual business items, I have a question. I wasn't here last week. Is Morris' name left off the list? He was our newest member.
If I may, please.
Please.
Morris Madrid was hired as the City of Las Vegas Finance Director. So he is no longer on the committee.
That makes sense. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good guy for that. Very good.
Okay, we'll move to business items. Committee recommendations for approval. Present, review, discuss, and potential action on city in support of the NMED proposed water reuse, water regulation by Gloria de Bioscience. I guess they're gonna be at the council meeting to go over the.
That's right here, putting your presentation. That's already, I believe, in you guys' packet. If you'd like, I can go over a couple key details on this.
If you will, please.
No problem. It's basically a general permitting requirements through the 20.6.2311 NMAC to control the discharge of water contaminants specific to water reuse. The proposed regulations do not fully allow the permitting to either be direct or indirect municipal reuse, and some subsequent regulations that will be developed for later and after these regulations are imposed. The requirements of the reuse within 20.6 NMAC provide a regulatory framework that allow water to be stripped from communities like Las Vegas to proceed forward with finding long-term solutions and water resiliencies, of course, for its citizens. And this is relating to the Agua Pura project. So basically, going in front of NMED and proposing new, regulatory reuse water regulations.
Okay. Okay. What's your take on that? Oh, you plan-
I,
Just want to see we're on the same page. That's all.
personally, I'm not for it. That's personally my opinion. I've tried to convince my son and my wife. And if I can't convince them, I don't think I can convince anybody.
Has this project already been approved though? By the city council? Not the one that we have before us, but the Agua Pura?
I know it has been brought up in council a time or two, but I don't think council has given a direction.
So there's no ultimate approval yet.
There's no ultimate approval yet. And that is going in front of council along with many other item things.
Yes. But on this particular one, we're saying that the company that the geoscience is gonna be inspecting the water, making sure that it can be reused for whatever purposes other than consumption.
Yes, sir.
Well, human consumption.
Potable water.
Huh?
Potable water.
Potable water, yeah. And they've been, about Mr. Phelps, have they been doing this? This is, all we're doing is recommending that they continue to be it's an addendum, right?
So right now, and just to get you guys caught up and stuff,
Okay,
when I came in as interim, this was thrown on me, which I had no idea about. Neither did council or executive office. So they told us that this had to go up before NMED. They already had a set date. We told them that that was not gonna happen because it has to go to council for approval or direction. So that's where we're at right now with this testimony.
But this is not part of it. What you just said. Sounds like it's part of it.
This is part of the Agua Pura.
Actually, Mike, it's just a approval to go ahead and let the geoscience go in and put their spiel in about the project.
This is all this is just a presentation. And like we said, it is present, review, discuss a potential action based on governing body's recommendation. And like I said, when I got in here, we had just found out about it. So the protocol dictates that something like this that is going to NMED and stuff like that goes through the governing body before any recommendations can be done. That's why we put, it's Gloria Geoscience, which they changed their name to GZI now. So that's why we put the presentation and we'll let mayor and council advise on this one.
And don't they have to, or does council give direction for them to have like a public hearing and all that stuff?
That's why it's present, review, discuss, and potential action based on their recommendation.
No potential.
Yeah, and I'm only giving him the opportunity to present it. Like I said, when I found out about it, it was right here. We have to go to a meeting, and I was like, no, thank you. So we put it on the agenda for council and everything.
Following.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now, just following protocol.
so what are your, from this committee, Mr. Chair, what are we asking on this motion?
We're asking that, to go ahead and approve,
The presentation.
for the presentation to the council.
Yeah, no, so we're not taking any action per
No.
se, it's
Well,
Well, we're saying
basically
it's
the
up to the-
action is to, you know,
Let them speak.
allow the presentation to be taken to council.
So the next step, this will be a presentation. Council will be able to advise our next step in moving forward or however we're gonna take it.
Or dumping the project.
And we will, I believe, only presentation only.
we had to put it in as present, review, discuss, and potential action. Because the potential action meaning it can either be denied or it could be either moving forward on something like this. And like I said, coming in here, when I came in here, it was presented to me, they told me I had to go in Maria's place, and I kind of didn't feel comfortable because I'm not really sure. Well, at the time, I wasn't really sure. Now I'm caught up with it and I kind of see what they mean because state of New Mexico doesn't really have any regulatory reuse water laws specific to stuff like this. I know there's stuff for indirect where they inject it, but there's nothing as far as what entails the Agua Pura project. If that makes any sense. So the testimony is just moving forward and
Okay, so, Travis, the way I understand it is either GSI or GCI presents, I mean, is going to be approved or somebody else is going to be approved, but somebody has to be able to inspect the potable water, right? Some organization.
and that's kind of where it leads up to on who's gonna do it, the city or.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
This is just regulatory action on reduced water within the community. I mean, as far as the project goes, that's later down the line then.
Yeah.
We have.
If-
Yes, sir.
If I don't want to approve it.
Because once the regulations are passed, those are regulations that the city is gonna have to abide by as far as reuse goes and the Agua Pura, if it ever was. This is basically the foundation of those water regulations.
Well, then I make a motion that we recommend to the city council that they allow GCI to present a review to them about the potential action, what they have proposed for potable water. I don't think the utilities committee should stand in the way of GCI or of the council being able to hear it, so I just say pass it on. Let the council,
Right, it's not our decisions, but
it's their decision, that's what it is. All we're saying is, yeah, the GCI should be allowed to present it.
Yep.
Okay, so I make that motion to allow GCI to present to the council at the council's discretion if they want.
just that, but it's, only. Let's see.
Then
Presentation only.
Then it'll be presentation only and potential action or whatever the governing body wants to do, so that's.
Okay, so then I have to amend my motion to say the right thing. Okay.
We just, okay. We have anything to say, Chuck?
I'll go ahead and second it on those words.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez, all in favor, with the understanding that Mike Martinez is proposing that it only be for presentation and not action.
All of you. No.
Get that, Shawnee? It's being recorded, yes.
Did you get that, Shani?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. I'm almost awake.
How are you today?
Very good.
I like that shirt.
Kind of legal, illegal.
Okay, we'll move to number 2, recommendation for approval of addendum number 1 to contract number 3984. Good afternoon, Councilman.
Made it.
Okay, now that everybody's here now, we went over number 1 on business items and the committee recommendation for approval to send the presentation to the council for the proposed reuse regulation. Send Gloria to geoscience for the presentation. And that'll be, I guess, more next. So we move to number 2, recommendation for approval of addendum number 1 to contract number 3984-23 with Sutter Miller and Associates for design services on sewer repairs and replacement projects for the city.
I was thinking they've been doing this for a long time now. Southern Miller.
This one right here, we don't have any projects under this contract right now. It's just an open contract where we do request their services for planning and design of any future sewer line projects.
Would anybody else be considered for that other than Southern Miller?
There are we have 2 engineers under this, under this RFP 2023-15. And I believe it's Sutter Miller and Stantec. So there are 2 different engineering firms that we do have under the RFP 2023.
But this is just an addendum.
This is just an addendum for next year. Yes, sir. And like I said, we do not have any projects with them at the moment,
Thank you.
active at all.
You might want to double check with the clerk. Because on my packet, you can't see it, man. You can't see it. It's really like
For what it did.
the wording,
Okay,
the scope of work and everything, you can't read it. It's really usable.
okay.
Okay,
I will get on that.
that's otherwise we don't know. At least my packet. I don't know.
I got you. So basically, right now, this will be their second year.
Well, I make a motion to, that we, send to the city council our approval for the addendum to Southern Miller and continue working on these sewer repairs and replacement projects. Second. I'll go ahead, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Question. You know, on that, the Southern Miller and any other company, there has been asking for us to put a cap on $1,000,000, that's what we haven't done. Is that a good idea?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, right now, with these contracts, so I don't know if you guys really know the process, but let me explain to you real quick. So let's just say we utilize this contract. We come up with the scope of work for, we're gonna repair the sewer line on Independence, 100 feet. We come out with the scope of work. We tell them how many services that we know of, and of course, we handed over the scope of work over to them. They consider it a task order. The task order is underneath this contract, and they have to provide the surveys, what the work is going to entail, what they do, and then on that task order, it'll say on how much they're going to charge us for planning and design, as well into construction-based services. So once we do that, we can put in there not to exceed that amount, and of course, that amount is negotiable based on the rates that they provide us in their contracts. So the city would have to pretty much be on that task order, and that would be a cap under that project. So they would not be able to exceed whatever the negotiated amount is for the planning, design, and construction-based services.
Yeah, and you guys agree on that on the RFP and contract. You know what I'm saying? Now, Mayor and Council, they want an agreement on this.
So-
On those.
So,
These RFPs that go before us.
yeah, okay, so I get it, and that's why I'm saying, because the contract right here is opened up for interpretation on services that we require based on projects. So that task order will fall under this contract, but the task order that's related to that project will be capped. Because right now, it's open, because if we only have $100,000, for instance, we have capped on this project, then we can only use that for one project, you know what I mean? If anything. So that's why this right here is to, pretty much satisfy procurement without having to go out for bid or pay their services. So let me see if I have the contract here and I can read it to you guys on the scope of work. Disaster recovery.
No, but the difference is you have a cap inside. Different. That's what you're telling me.
So
You have a cap.
there's a cap on that project. Sir.
But what if council wants to put a cap on you? Then, let's say that the council only wants to cap this at $500,000, this contract.
So then that contract for those services is,
It's on that.
it's automatic 500. But once that contract's done, on your cap, we won't be able to utilize them throughout the year or anything like that.
That's what I mean. So you have to go back to us for another $500,000, with whatever the amount of project is for.
Yes. And see, the task order, like I said, it's based on the contract, but the task order is one that has to go to, like I said previously, has to go before governing body for approval. And everything that's on that task order that relates to the project that's under here is already approved by council.
You know,
It's basically, it's asking for an extension. We can cap it with extension if necessary.
Yes, sir. And that's why I'm saying, like, when it comes to the task order, it's either a yes or a no. Because like I said, that task order is just pertaining to one project. And these services have a whole thing of, the planning, the design, the construction phase services, surveys. All that.
I kind of like that idea because it does make contractors understand that they are being watched. That's, the door's just not wide open.
And I agree too, and that's why I said, the contract is just there for the procurement. It's the task order that's based on the project. And these contracts are not based on just one project. It's based on multiple services we can utilize for engineers when it comes to planning and design. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you could use 4 different projects on that contract.
Yes, sir. And each project has their own task order that's related just to the project.
And their amount.
Yes, and their amount.
And that's why Mayor and Council kind of want to go towards capping this RFPs.
And that's fine. We can.
Again, for me to make a decision, I would have to know how much was spent for the last year that you had. To say, oh, I'm gonna cap it at 500,000. If you say 10 million, I'll probably cap it at 500,000.
Right.
That's come, I wasn't in favor of it, and they brought it up before, but not even. Is that because I don't know how many projects you're utilizing it for, and I don't know what amounts.
I guess.
And if I go and cap it, I say, yeah, I'm going to cap it, and we cap it, and then you'll be back with us for the next project and for the next project.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I'm asking, is it a good idea to put a cap on it?
I would say it is, and also I would say it'd be a good turnout to take the task order from the council as well, because you know the exact amount that you're paying for planning, designing, construction phase services on one project that's related to whatever project we have in use with this engineering firm. And that'll give you guys the exact amount. And like I said, we can always put a cap on each one of these RFPs as we go. And, of course, if we need an extension on it, we'd have to go. But it would be the way to go, but I'd have to look into procurement and see how we would solicit for it, because we would have to let the vendors also know that there is a cap on it and they're proceed. So, like, for right now, this one, I can look into it. I'll have to talk with procurement. It's the way we solicitate these to keep us in compliance with procurement. So right now, we just solicit this for I think there's about 20 some services that Southern River can do under the wastewater. So it would be the way we would solicit these contracts, and they would understand since the get-go that they do have a cap on things.
Just make the most of it. So,
No, I totally get it. I understand.
So, we could, go ahead with this on the grounds that they come up, that, Travis comes up with a background of a couple of years back on how much the use of each one of the
Contracts?
contracts was, so that we can get an idea and the council can have that information and go from there.
Yes, sir. I can get you guys that information as soon as possible. So, how many years do you guys want?
Just the 2 years that you're in the contract.
2
they're gonna
years.
have their own, this is the second year.
It's real easy, just that's the finance director.
And I don't think,
Line item on that contract.
I don't think SMA has had any jobs under this contract. I'll tell you right now, I don't know for sure, but I don't think they've had any work because we've been utilizing SMA for operations and the new lead and copper rule that the nation is going now. So,
And see, that's why I haven't been on the wagon of capping anything.
yeah,
Because I don't know if it's gonna hurt your department. I don't know if it's gonna hurt the contractor. I don't know if you're in the middle of a project that you meet the cap, you need to finish the project, and then you gotta come back before the council and it takes time to follow it again. So that's why I'm kind of leery of capping in the RFPs.
and as a matter of fact, just to give you guys a little bit of insight of what we've been doing lately is myself, the project manager, and the division leaders that we do have projects on with contractors and engineers. We are stating that we are watching their documentation now, we're watching their time, everything, and we're asking for backup as far as emails go, everything. And Travis can attest to stuff like this because we kind of already put our foot down as far as it comes for these big projects. Because I have been looking into one project and, you know, I think we spent a little bit more than what we should have. So that's kind of a wake up call for the city, and it's kind of giving us new direction and making sure that everything is being kept up and is in order.
So Travis, you said there's two different engineers that you're utilizing for this kind of services?
I believe it, yes, sir. I want to say it's the SMA and Stantec.
And so have you been utilizing Stantec for,
Right now, Stantec is being utilized for the hot springs project. They were utilized for the wastewater part and for the water part.
so there's record of that for as long as you've been using them and how much they've been?
Stantec is something that has been utilized a lot.
Okay. Well, that might be a good thing to look.
And that's
Okay,
actually one of the engineers that we have been looking at too.
Okay.
And like I said, we're doing our own full assessments and we are turning in our reports to executive office, so everything that we do, it gets submitted on the higher up, so that way, you know, we keep the transparency and everything up, so. As far as it goes right now, a lot of this stuff has been, or is being addressed and assessed, so we can get you guys a lot of the information that is required.
So on the motion that was made, Mr. Chairman, are we going to, revision of the cap? And the other question is, are we gonna add prior history, a couple years of prior history? Presented to the council before they approve this?
Well, I think that's something that I think Paris is now aware of, and you can look
Done
into it.
internally?
And bring it back to the committee if he wants, or he's gonna need to bring it to council. And they'll probably ask you that tomorrow.
And I can have something for council tomorrow. Once I'm done here, I'll probably meet with procurement and I'll have to go through a little bit of the rules and regulations that we do have, but I can look into it. This is me working with procurement and learning as far as what we have on there. I don't think we'll be able to put a cap on these because it's already solicited. So that's just my instinct that I have right now. I can double check and I can have something for council tomorrow. So if council does deny it, I mean, we can always go back out for RFP and we can also put in there that, there will be caps based on funding, put it that way. And that's, because right here it says, if you look at the physical impact, it says cost budgeted on a wastewater line, item number as needed. That's not what Mr. Montoya is talking about. He's talking about, a budget. Here it says cost budgeted on a wastewater line, item number as needed. So basically there's no cap on.
I think, some of these companies have been getting like $10 million a year and so forth. I don't know, but,
And
I know the mayor's brought it up 3 times and somebody else has brought it up and they seem to be interested in doing that. But like I said, I don't know if it's lazy or if you have to, if your process, your finance,
well,
and all that. I don't know.
right now, I mean, we're not utilizing this contract at all. Now, we're probably not going to utilize it for another 4 or 5 months because we're coming to the end of the fiscal year. We're doing our budgets. We still got to get through June, July. And then we got to see what we have after with our new budget and to move forward if we have any projects or anything like that. So honestly, in my mind, I don't really plan on utilizing this contract for a good while. And I understand it's here for when we need it because when we do need a project to go, this contract right here actually helps out with procurement because we can just utilize it. We don't have to go off the bid. We don't have to do any of that because that stuff does take time. But if with procurement and that, I could propose it to council tomorrow. If they deny it, we can always go back out for RFP with the verbiage of caps and stuff like that. And like I said, right now, I don't think we can because it's the way that we solicited for it. So that's all I have to say on that one. And I will double check with procurement, but that's the way I look at it.
We should do like something to mind for the new.
Yes, sir. And a lot of this stuff that I hate to say it, but I was the one that wrote it. So, I mean, changing the verbiage and stuff as far as RFPs and the proposals that we solicit for, it's not really a big thing to just change the way we do it. I just got to make sure that we do follow procurement. So that'll be a little bit of an investigation for me, but that won't be too hard.
Mr. Chairman, I'll leave my motion as well as presented. And there's a second still stand.
Okay, we have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, move to number 3, recommendation for approval to enter into negotiations for RFP number 2024-18 for disaster legal services for the city of Las Vegas for damages sustained from the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon wildfires.
This was put out to bid, right?
This was a proposal, yes, sir.
Is anybody else besides Singleton Schreiber?
Singleton and Roybal, Mac and Cordova.
Was the Mac and Cordova 39?
So basically on this, they were pretty much even. The only difference between them was fees and services.
There were quite a big difference.
There was quite a big difference.
And who was the higher?
The higher one was Roybal, Mac and Cordova.
And they're local?
No,
They're not.
they have offices here. They're already dealing with Mora County. They're
Yeah.
dealing with the county here in San Miguel. They're dealing with Santa Fe. They're in Albuquerque. They're all over, and they have employed people from around the region.
And Schreiber is from where?
Singleton, Schreiber. They're the same thing. They have, offices here, there's,
I see what you're saying.
so I believe, Roy White Mac and them is from, I want to say Montana, and Singleton Schreiber is out of Washington.
Roy Walmack in Cordova?
Yeah,
It's just a law.
The lady is,
Yeah.
the owner?
no,
So Roy Ball,
Mac,
Roybal Mac in Cordova has
Mac is
one, PD Law Office is another one, and Robertson Cloud PC are all one. So it's three entities under one. And Roybal Mac in Cordova, I believe, are their lead or point of contact for this company. Because that one was a little difficult to go through their evaluation because it was so thick, but it's three different companies in one.
Was that part of the bids?
Say that again?
Was that part of the bids?
As far as their services, they were pretty much all the same. They're both good and everything. Like I said, the only difference was their fees. Their fees were something that we took into account. One, I believe, wanted money up front, and the other one would take the money based on reimbursements and stuff like that. So it took us about 2.5 hours as a committee to figure out the math, but we can go ahead and get it.
and you're recommending then Schreiber, Singleton and Schreiber?
Yes. And that one was because that's a company we can actually work with without having to break the bank. Put it that way.
and to my understanding, okay, Revolve Mac and those two other companies, it'd be easier to work with one company than three,
Yes, sir.
even though Revolve's the contact.
Yes, sir.
Revolve has their office in Kirkland and Mona.
They have a Mona, they have one here.
And single, what's the Singleton?
Singleton has more,
They're nationwide.
yeah, they have, and actually, as a matter of fact, they have a lot of employees that are from around here.
But they're nationwide and they have probably offices in,
They had more offices here in New Mexico.
about 10 cities.
Yeah, they had more offices here in New Mexico than,
And they're the ones that have more schools and the county.
yes, sir.
For the RFPs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And like I said, when we did the evaluations, that was the longest evaluation we have done on these RFPs. And we did break everything down and we did pretty much dissect everything.
The background on all this was, we have a lot of stuff that needs to be compensated. And a lot of stuff that needs, projects that need to be done. Now, I've been asking for the last 6 months to put an RFP together because we're not the experts. I am not the expert. And we had schools that closed down, we had city offices that closed down, we had employees that were fighting fire, we had people on standby, we had people on overtime, we had roads that are destroyed. We have our views, our watershed, our plants, you name it.
Get that one out of the
It's
relationship.
on and on and on. And my point was this. I'm not an expert, but I can hire an expert. And to me, they've represented other fires before. They know what they're looking for, they know what they can get. And when amongst, and they have the specialists to make those determinations. So I think, and I want to say that the previous mayor and previous city manager never wanted to vote for another people. But, we're going out for it. Yes, it's going to take years. Maybe you can get compensated. Right now, the mayor, we asked for $14 million to remove silt from the Diamond River. That's all we do.
That's what I
And
always
that's
say.
100, that's from the 100 million for loan in the state that we lobbied for. And we were the last ones probably that took advantage of that. 100 million of them. Nobody was touching it. They kept telling staff and the mayor council, borrow money, fix it, fix it, and then get reimbursed in FEMA. If FEMA don't even reimburse us, the governor will go after FEMA. So, finally, we took advantage of it, $15 million. But there are nothing, we can start doing that stuff.
And from what I understand, there was $36 million left in the pot.
Yeah.
We just pulled 14. So we figure we gotta do about another 15, 16 million if possible. But that's what's left of that, what he's talking about.
That'll go fast.
And then the other thing is the governor was here last week and she met with all entities before she had a public meeting. And, what I asked her is to see if she could waiver those $100 million through the legislature. So instead of it being a loan and getting reimbursed from FEMA, so that we're working on it, we're gonna work on it. And if that's the case, like that $14 million that we borrowed, if FEMA pays us back, guess what? We get to keep it. If the legislature decides to, cover it.
And also, what it would.
And the thing is, they're in charge of the disaster relief, so they should be able to pay that.
And this single team Schreiber, they also did a lot of hurricane relief programs.
Mhm.
So they know a lot of the whole flooding and everything that does pertain to it. They've done some fire, but a lot of what they're doing now is, well, they've dealt with is a lot of flooding and stuff like that, so.
One of the Councilwoman is saying, we do the cleaning and then, by an act of nature, we always get our rain all at once. So, we could have flooding to dirty up the whole place again, so yeah. It's not that simple.
If I'm not mistaken, FEMA only wanted to pay for one-time cleaning.
Yeah.
Of the giving baskets and the diversion and so forth. And we have this disaster in hands for the next 5 years. We don't know what to expect this
I agree.
Monsoon season. So the trees are gonna start coming down. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
You can tell by looking at it right now that, they've cleaned it, a couple times already, and it's already max, so.
I was just looking at the area over down here and it hasn't been cleaned and dark. Now that the water's settled in, you can see it's dark. There's a lot of silt there. The ponds that we invested money in to they're all full now. So we gotta get a special contractor to do something like that. The last one didn't want to touch it. He got the bid, but then when some of the work, he said, no, I can't do this because I don't know what's gonna happen next year. And then my work's not gonna be guaranteed. So,
And if you look at future cities that have been hit by fires in the past, they're still dealing with it, and that was over 10 years ago. So this is, like Montoya said, I believe it's going to be a lot longer than 10 years that we're going to have to deal with this point.
and then the other thing with this is that November of 25 or November of 26 or January 1st, I don't know if I'll be here. So they will be there. So those will be fighting for us.
Well, that's a key point.
So,
Yeah, hire somebody that's gonna work for us.
so there's four elected officials that are running, that are out in their term. So if somebody comes in new and they don't know nothing about the history, they're gonna depend on staff, but bottom line is we're covered in the future with this. Hopefully.
Yes.
That's why I kind of started the binder that you guys see here. So that way,
Yeah.
one of the board members or anybody coming does ask for history, it's going to be a living document as it goes anyways. So that's kind of why I have it here for documentation.
Well, then Mr. Chairman will make the motion that Singleton and Schreiber be considered for the, to negotiate for the city with the, whoever, for disaster and legal services, leave.
Okay,
For damages.
motion.
Pardon?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Sweeney, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, move to number 4, recommendation for approval to enter into negotiations for RFP number 2024-19 for disaster recovery service. That basically the same thing.
This one, so those are legal services. These are actually, the disaster order, the social group, what they do is they go and they will get with city staff, they will go and assess, we'll do a scope of work. They have project managers, they have engineers, they have their own staff. So when it comes down to it, they'll put the project together, they will do the understanding, the bidding and everything. And they will take care of the project, relieving city staff to pretty much do our day-to-day operations. And they'll handle the projects and they'll answer to executive office as far as it goes. And of course, they'll meet with city staff depending on which facility or utility that they are working with.
This was advertised in
Yes, sir.
many areas,
This was another one. Yes, sir.
so you only had one bid
Yes, sir.
because of the scope of the work, is that what you're saying? Like, of the legal work?
So these recovery service groups that we're doing, this is what they specialize in.
Mhm.
So it's not like there's a whole bunch of them that are out there, and if they're out there, they're already on other major disaster recoveries, you know what I mean? So it was posted the same time as the legal services was. And I know I did get together with a couple of planning groups. They put them out there, so this was the only bike that we did get.
Well, that be it the case, then make a recommendation, I mean, if we approve the motion to enter into negotiations with the Salsa Group for, and I'm not even sure in terms of these, is that the recovery services? What's the scope would be, but
I can get you the scope right now, as a matter of fact, I was just looking for it, just to give you guys a little bit of insight. And I will tell you, these RFPs were some of the hardest ones that I've ever had to do, because a lot of it I have to pertain to rules and regulations from the state to FEMA to, it was crazy. So basically what they do is they secure federal funding and adequate cash flow for disaster recovery projects. They develop scope of work, they get the cost estimates, their cost reconciliation of completed work. They project formulations and reviews, they do procurement support. There's grant administration and grant support that they give us. They request for reimbursements, they do project closeouts. They assist in management of the disaster recovery projects undertaken by the city of Las Vegas. They provide extensive knowledge and experience and technical competence in dealing with federal regulations, specifically including to the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act. They proactively identify and resolve issues that may arise with related to funding of work to be completed. They assess damage to public infrastructure as needed. They respond and they prepare federal emergency management state of New Mexico document request relating to projects. Assist the city with preparation and submittals of application for disaster recovery funding, including any funding through the Hermit's P. Cap County Claims Office. They assist in determining the scope of the project and obtaining any required approvals from FEMA or the state of New Mexico. They track statuses and requests for reimbursements and submit it to assist to contractors and but that's basically what this company is doing.
We leave them now.
They didn't leave anything out. And I mean, as far as the personal experience goes, they have project managers, they have legal services, they got grant managers, project engineers, they have a project account, they have scientists, they have hydrologists, they have GIS, cost estimates, construction managers, they review contracts, procurement, compliance specialists. I mean, it's one of those companies that are pretty much based on disaster recovery.
For the other brothers?
Let me see, this one I don't really remember where they were out of, but I can get that for you real quick. Social group, documentation, maybe the financial will tell me. Additional, oh, it's over here. Sorry, guys, clear identification. They are from Fairfields, Ontario. Not sure, Ontario. Alley, so it says 70006. Louisiana. That's where they're from.
Recovery in Louisiana.
That's where their main office is right here. Their main office is in Louisiana.
Well, experience becomes.
And they have I believe this is the one that has their office right across the train station. Is it City Hall? No, one of these places has an office right across the train station. I just can't remember which one it was.
Well, my motion still standing on it. Did you get a second?
I'll second that motion. Okay, we had a motion by Rudy, a second by Mike Smith, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, number 5 is recommendation for approval to conduct a public hearing to adopt ordinance number 24-01, amending gas ordinance 06-08.
This is the one that we brought to you guys last month for the presentation to go in front of council for ordinance. Now this one is just basically for approving the public hearing for those ordinances. Gas, water, sewer, trash.
It was brought last meeting for publication.
Yeah,
Ordinance dictates that it has to be published for a certain amount of time. I talked with Cass. We have passed that time limit and now it needs to go for public hearing and adoption.
I have a problem with the price of sustainments, delinquents and cutoffs with item or addendum number 3, where it says that if they don't pay by a certain amount of time, they put a lien on their properties. I don't think we're that type of a city. I mean, the people that here are, I mean, maybe now with the shot of FEMA, the injection of money from FEMA, it will become that kind of a city, but as it is now, there's a lot of poor people that are property owners and are really hanging on. And I think there needs to be some kind of a hearing officer. There's something in between there to do that's neutral, that's not working for the city, or that's paid by the city. You gotta figure out how to deal with people that not the average taxpayer, you know, the little viejitos and the little people that are really hanging on. And I know that there's a lot of assistance out there for people, but they sometimes don't know how to navigate or how to get to it. So I couldn't in good conscience vote for that amendment, that number 3, when you're taking property away. I could see even the fines. I mean, I'm saying when you're delinquent and then they charge you of interest on top of the delinquency, they're making you more delinquent instead of helping you out. So I have a hard time with that, Mr. McInnes. But I mean, it's something that Just it's my own individual bias, if the rest of the committee sees it different this one. But in terms of,
So, so right now, you're, even though you get your date, and I know I walked into this one and I've been kind of studying up on it,
yeah,
but when you are delinquent or when you are given your due date, it doesn't make you delinquent on that due date.
right,
You have 15 days from that due date before it makes you delinquent. And before, the gas division had 45 days, the water division had 15, the sewer, I believe, had the same as the water, and trash never had anything. So just by this ordinance, it just makes everything flow as 15 days after your due date, that's when you become delinquent.
Does the contract you signed when you get your gas bill in March, is the state anything to that nature of non-payment?
That is something that customer service does explain to every
That
new.
they can't put a lien on the property or only in the account?
I don't think we need to say anything about liens on that. It's just talking about when your due dates are and when you get shut off.
And all it can attack in the account, and they can
If I may, Travis,
work.
Go ahead, Shawnee.
it is in the ordinance as of now, and the city, has put liens on property before for delinquencies. So it is stated in the ordinance that the city is able to do that.
In other words, it's already in place for liens.
Correct.
Then you already have it.
It's already an ordinance.
It's already in place to be able to put liens on property for past due bills and whatnot. This is just to make the ordinances more consistent in the amount of time before the customer gets cut off.
Because like I said, gas department had 45 days, water had 15, sewer had 15 days, and then the solid waste didn't have anything. So by us doing this, it just makes everything pretty much flow.
Just on the customer.
Where did this come from?
This was created by the previous, or it was proposed by the previous director.
Is this from the former council in the table or this kind of meeting? And on here it says it's a minimum of 20 days from billing. Unless otherwise provided, billing will be made monthly basis. No amount shall be payable and bill and shall become delinquent if not paid for the due date in that minimum of 20 days from billing. You just said 15.
So right here, that's yes.
the gas and water are different.
Failure to the city will take the action. The city shall notify customer of delinquent amounts. That service shall be terminated in a particular date, not less than 15 days after mailing the notice. Each delinquent notice shall contain the following language. This is to notify you that unless you bring your utilities account current, your utility service will be cut off 15 days after the date of this notice was mailed. You have the right to protest this termination as unjustified if you believe that you have been overcharged or charged for services not rendered. If you believe there's a mistake in your billing, you have the right to be heard to present your argument and evidence. The city will evaluate your complaint and determine whether you owe the amount in question. To protest this billing, you must contact the city collection agents 454-1401 prior to call.
But in the paradigm, there's a law can say that says you can't cut utility off. Within the gas utilities.
So, by the Pipeline Safety PRC, Commission, we are not allowed to turn off gas in the winter. And that's something that's beyond the city.
So shouldn't they also be taking this up in the same variable?
Who should be taking this up in the same
By
time?
putting a lien on the city putting a lien on property, look like they fall back on that pipeline.
That's something we would have to check into. I would have to check into that because, PRC is a federal regulation that is governed just for natural gas. So I don't know how that would fall into like city ordinances or anything like that.
Right, but if you can't cut them off, I'm not saying you're forcing them to continue.
I see what you're getting at though, because their bill will accumulate, even if we can't afford them, we can't shut them off. Okay,
When was that, when was it created?
when was it clear?
Yeah.
Shawnee. Shawnee,
Yes, go ahead.
was the ordinance amended in 2005?
I believe so. Which one? For which utility?
Yes. Which one are you looking at, traffic?
It should say at the top of your, in your book, it should say it's the new ordinance 2024-1, 2, or 3, or 4, amending ordinance, and then it'll tell you which ordinance it amended, which year.
So for gas ordinance, the last time that it was revised was in 2008.
Yes. Is that what it says at the top?
That's what it says, amending ordinance number 6-08.
So it was 2006.
So it's 2000, okay, so 2006 was when the ordinance was last revised.
And I was sitting here as chair. That ordinance. And my question is this, I'm like a Mr. Costello, in a sense that I don't mind water, I don't mind sewer, I don't mind sanitation on those deadlines. But when it comes to gas, it's gonna have a little bit of a heartburn. So, because gas, the amount of gas that you use is a lot more amount. $400 in a month versus $20 or $30 on sewer or sanitation, $38 or whatever.
And
But for us to, and I don't even understand, because that ordinance, if you're a late one on one or late on the other, you're gonna cut off anyway, right? You can't pay, if you have a $500 bill, you can't say, I'm gonna pay $400 on gas and I'm gonna pay $100 on utilities and the rest of the utilities. Because you're gonna get cut off anyway, right?
exactly.
So it don't even make sense.
So for this one,
Well,
if I may explain on the gas, well, I started off for gas 15 years ago, and I've always asked about the 45 days. From what I understood about the 45 days was so that way, because of course, the most expensive time that you use gas is in the winter. So they expended that time so that way nobody would ever be delinquent, because there are times where people couldn't pay their bill, especially for gas. So that's why they had given it a further due date than they did now. So that because, in the winter, we cannot turn them off, pipeline safety regulation. And then due to the fact that the gas has the highest rates during the winter, it gave people more leniency as to being delinquent if they couldn't afford their bill.
and it makes sense. And then I got a report that said for the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year, and the delinquency that there is high. And it tells me, I wish I would have brought it, but those numbers tells me that we have in place right now with a longer period of time, we're still not getting paid.
Exactly.
And then with a shorter time, we're even gonna get paid less. And I'll tell you, when I pay my bill, it takes 10 days at least for it to be processed,
Yes, sir.
which is, something to point out, because it shouldn't take that long, for one. But here we are starting the time period for the cutoff. Well, I don't think those cutoffs are working anyway, but you said those are the things that the elderly people or people with children, you can't cut them off in the winter, and probably not even any time,
I agree with you.
because they gotta have water, and there are other ordinances, if they don't have water, utilities or anything, I mean, they gotta vacate that house.
And see, and I think,
Then it becomes a health issue.
yeah, and not only a health issue, but it's a socioeconomic issue because of the fact that here we are carrying money for doing wastewater and all kinds of things, but nothing's being done to alleviate the people that can't pay the utilities. And I'm saying, if I was the average John Doe, so I gotta pay mine, so why shouldn't they pay theirs? Because they don't have the money to do it. And yet they have to keep farming, they have to use hygiene issues
And
come into play. But I'm saying,
Mr. Chair,
there's
I
no,
need to be excused. I have a doctor's appointment. I have one comment before I leave in regards to this. Nowhere did I hear anywhere where someone makes arrangements. Isn't there a way to delay that, shut off?
yes, sir.
Where they make arrangements?
There are payment arrangements.
yeah.
Sorry, but I've got to go.
90% of the things.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
But I guess, you know, the average the average John Doe could afford maybe to represent himself or have some representation in court so that a lien be placed against the property, but
And see, the 45 days, I believe, was a buffer zone, so that way we didn't cut anybody off during the winter time.
When you figure I go on vacation for a month. I come back and my utilities are shut,
I know, we've had that done before.
you know, that's just one incident. But what's the point behind all this? What does it do? How is it helping the city? And it's not gonna collect money any faster
Or any at all, unless it's on property.
because the proof is on the pudding already. I mean, there's already delinquency going on. And I don't even know what that total number is, maybe it's 1.5 million. But, you know, that we're not getting paid when we should be getting paid,
Yes, sir.
you know, so by showing it this time, I think, I don't know, personally, I think we're making things worse, I think. But either way, I mean, I would support the other 3 utilities, but not gas. And either way on the ordinance, if you don't pay at all, we're gonna shut you off for all of it anyway,
Exactly.
right?
they go different.
It don't make no sense.
Shawnee. Shawnee,
Yes, go ahead.
this was approved on last council meeting, right?
No.
Yes, for publication,
Oh, for publication.
Publication.
just for publication. And then it has to be published,
Okay,
for a certain amount of time. And then we have to put it back on to conduct a public hearing so that the public can come and give their input at the council meeting and then adoption. So on the 15th, the public will be allowed to come and put their input as far as these ordinances go and what they think. And then it'll be put up for adoption by council.
Yeah, like I said, there was on the last one, so that's why we're here now. But like I said, this was put in before I,
I
but
just don't know the objective.
I do think we are, I don't know, I want to say we are wrong on the gas because like I said, the city probably did the 45 days as a buffer zone. So that way we don't accidentally turn someone off and get in trouble with pipeline city. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but
So how do you deal with it when I pay 3/4 of the bill? What do you apply to, the gas or sewer or the water or what?
it just goes back to your recent bills.
Yeah, but does it go towards this month's?
So
If I'm up to date and you send me a bill and it's $400, and I only pay $300, do you apply those $300 to each a percentage?
Yes.
to each utility?
Yes.
Okay, so either way, I'm delinquent. So either
Correct.
way, no matter what, if you say 15 days or 30 days or 45 days, either way, you're gonna cut me off. I don't know, what are you gonna cut off? All services?
usually
Because
starts with
you
water.
say, on this ordinance, you're saying that you can't cut me off. I mean, you're gonna be able to cut everybody off at 15 days, I guess, or give notice and that.
It'll give notice and then that's when basically about 30 days. You have about 30 days before you become delinquent and you get shut off.
Yeah,
You have 15 days and then you get the notice and you have 15 days from the notice.
Yeah. So these people that owe a lot of money are not up to par on the statistics that you have 3, 6, and 9, and 12 months. It's because if most of those are done in the winter, or they just don't pay every month.
They just don't pay every month. So I've been looking into a lot of the accounts that are delinquent, and we have people that haven't paid in 4 or 5 months. And of course, it just keeps accumulating, and those are the people that are cut off, that are asking, can I get my stuff turned on? Wow, they have to pay majority of that money back before we can even turn services.
No, but on that report, you had 3, 6, 9, and 12, and you're still on 3 months, you're 30,000. They haven't paid. On 6 months, you're 70,000. On 9 months, you might be 60,000. On 4 months, you're already at 100,000, for instance. So they're not being shut off. So what's the point?
There's really no point in putting it that way.
And
Shawnee,
this is what I'm getting at.
Yes,
can you email Jody and do me an audit of cutout non-payments for the last fiscal year? So that way I can see exactly what we're talking about or research that up, please. Sorry
yes, I
about that.
will.
I want to understand the 3, 6, 9, and 12.
Yeah, well, there's balances and they keep doing, but they don't get cut off and they don't get paid.
If I may,
Go ahead, Shawnee.
I believe that a lot of those that you're referring to, Counselor, a majority of them are because of COVID. When COVID started, we weren't allowed to cut anybody off under any circumstances. And there were customers and people that did not make one payment the entire time. And that's how they got so far behind. And then when they finally allowed us to do cutouts again, by that time, the bills were super, super high. And people just couldn't catch up.
And how long have we been out of COVID?
No, I agree. I understand what you're saying. But that I think that had a lot to do with that portion of why the bills are so high for that far back.
Well,
Ask for that audit for me, Jody, so that way we can verify and assess, and then we can go from there. So that
Okay.
way we can make a determination on.
I'll call her right now.
Thank you, Shannon.
and then the other point was this, way back then, the first time I came into office, we had, let's say $1 million that had been there for 20, 30 years. People moved from an apartment, from a rental, they left town, from this place to that place, this, that's why we changed the ordinances. The landlords. But we ended up hiring a company to come in here and try and recover all that money and pay them 10%. Well, they went and recovered as much as they could. We got maybe $250,000 back. And we have to pay them 10%. And the rest, we asked the DFA to erase it from our books because we make the effort. And these people are for the company fund or they die. So that's why it's important that if we have an ordinance about cutoff, that we follow it. And I understand the pandemic. I understand that completely. But the rest of it, I don't see why those numbers are still there and they're still fluctuating like that. I mean, I can see where you have every month some people that don't pay, $20,000, $30,000 maybe. But those other numbers were high enough.
If you give me a chance to get that audits from them. I could do my assessment and I could bring everything back to you as raw data. And we can move forward from there and see if, you know, this ordinance will help or not, and see what measures we have to take as far as cutting people off and seeing exactly why they're still on and when they shouldn't be on.
Or putting a lien on their property. I think there needs to be some kind of a buffer zone where it takes individual cases into consideration. I mean, there are those that just refuse to pay, but they're making the money, then that's different, they should pay.
Like I said, once I provide the raw data, everything will be there, and we can make our assessment based off of cut out on payments, who's been cut off, who's still on. And I guess we can go from there and.
You know, some people owe like $8,000.
But
Some people owe $8,000 and more. That's how much they built it up, and then they disappear. And a lot of them are local people, and we know who they are and the whole works. And they could afford it and everything, but.
those are the people that I think maybe you could consider a lien against, but there's a lot of older people that just can't.
And then again, this will go through district court, no?
And you think they would consider the options of who should have to be using the property? And
And the thing is, that when people don't pay like that,
Yeah,
who pays? You and I pay,
that's right.
because we have to pick up the rates. And so when they sell their house, that's the only time that we have an opportunity to recover our costs.
You mean in terms of if the city gets a lien against the property?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, that'll go for number 5, 6, and 7, and 8.
Mhm.
Sorry, we got a little off topic.
Yeah, you're right.
I think,
But that's a good, well, those are good points to bring up.
And I understand the consistency of, you know, all of them at the same time. That's fine. And it makes it easier on staff and the city and all that, but
I agree with all of it except for the gas. That's something I don't agree with because, I mean, gas is the most expensive thing, especially in the winter. Being a gas personnel that I have and being on service and being a service tech and going in the middle of the winter and
it don't matter if you pay your gas and you don't pay your water, you're still gonna get cut off. Or your source, you're going to get cut off. And that's what the ordinance is.
yeah,
You're
one,
still delinquent. They're not gonna go there and cut your gas only, or your water only, or your sewer only. Yeah. Huh?
If you have a high balance of your water, they'll cut your water, which in turn cuts your sewer.
Yeah.
And then your gas will stay on, depending on how high your bill is affected. How much, CFUs you use, or how many gallons of water.
Well, you're gonna have,
but even
balance on each one.
regardless in the winter, like I said, in the winter, we're not allowed to turn the gas off at all. Even if they have a high bill, that bill is just gonna accumulate. And the 45 days was so that way it gave the customer enough of a buffer zone not to make it delinquent on gas. That's why it was 45 days.
Mhm.
And now, I mean, we are changing it to the 15 days after the notice or whatever, but the 45 days was because we cannot shut them off regardless. And that's pipeline safety. That's a federal regulation that the city has to abide by. And that's one utility we can't just. So regardless, it's just gonna accumulate.
Shouldn't that same federal regulation have some kind of an option that for assistance, they can pay for the gas there?
Like I said, that's something I would have to get with pipeline safety and see. I'm not really sure on that one, but that's something I.
That's understood, but I can't.
Well, I don't know. Like, we don't know till we try. I'd have to get a hold of them and see if.
Right, because they're basically setting you up and the customer to be in there.
Yes, sir. And yeah. I can give them a call and we can go from there. I don't think it's ever been done, but I know a couple people that.
The federal should be too.
So you publicize how many people come up to you? None.
Not me. No, sir.
You advertise this meeting, you publicize it, how many people are here? Tomorrow at Wednesday's meeting, do you think anybody's gonna go over there and oppose any of this?
No.
And I'm sure. So that's why it's important to have this committee and other committees, because you guys are the voice for the people. But,
And like
you
I,
guys do whatever you need to do.
like I said, to me, I mean, this is something I walked into that was already in motion, but if you do ask me personally, not as an employee, but as a resident, I disagree with the gas. Like I said, I've had experience in that department before, so I know how it is in the winter time, especially for a lot of people. As far as, of course, the water, the wastewater, those two should be on the same, because you get charged as much as you use. And the trash, I mean, nothing was ever put in place for trash. So that's just,
It's hard for me to think about what happened 18 years ago, but I think that's exactly why we changed the ordinance to 45 days. And we had discussions like this one. It was a tough thing to do, but I think that before it was all in one, and it was all 15 days, whatever they have on there for solid waste and all that. Well, we changed it to a longer period of time in my gas for those reasons. I don't know why we want to go back.
out of
It wasn't
curiosity,
working out.
to the council, do you want me to do a little bit of research as far as pipeline safety goes and see what the minimum days is as far as cutouts that they recommend? I know they're not gonna put anything out there, but if I can reach out to them and talk to them a little bit, maybe we can get a little bit of clarification.
They really can't refer to anything about because they don't know the temperature of the.
Yeah, that, Mr. Yeah,
What else? P&M gave you
Yeah,
before the shut.
I've never been shut off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do everything through my phone, so when the bill comes,
How much on the telephone?
my phone, well, they'll shut me off there, right there and there if I don't do it. I believe I don't know.
No, just cable.
same thing.
Yeah, I've seen it, they shut you off right away if you don't do it.
Well, I was gonna ask a question that, because I'm looking for resolutions to this issue of non-food. Is it true that you have to pay a minimum amount to use the city services? You're not getting, let's say you're over Viejito and you only use 1 gallon of water and so many things of gas because you have a wood stove, you still get charged a certain amount.
It's
So
out
that-
of the basement.
Pardon?
It's out of the basements.
Yeah, so that could make you delinquent in itself, right?
They're.
If you're low income.
It's like $38 a month, basically.
That's something that you guys might want to look at, what I'm saying is, the people that have the ability to pay, I agree with Mr. Montoya and everybody else who agrees with, I'm sure that they should pay, and there should not be a delinquency or whatever. But the people that don't have the ability to pay are then penalized by having to pay the minimum usage, which they don't use, and second, then they're given a fine of like, an interest rate of 1 point, whatever, it's set on the regulations. And then eventually they could face losing their home. I don't know. I think it's something that we could also look at if you don't mind that.
That's something we could look at too.
I know we have to pay for the utilities and the pipelines and the,
Convenience.
This is what's crazy. The minimum charges are pretty much defined by the amount of employees, that how much money we put into our lands and to maintain them and also to operate and stuff like that. Your water will be $30. Your sewer will be $48. Why? Why is it more expensive? Because it takes a lot more to maintain, to run it and so forth. On my rig.
Correct.
And so I mean, I always thought like, when the hell am I paying so much money on sewer? And shit, man, it's probably $12 more a month or so. But then chemicals and maintaining and all that. Or
There's a lot more
yeah,
regulations on
regulation and all that. So I don't
wastewater.
know.
But it's basically-
But the basic fees, that's what I'm saying, are pretty much to the point to where it costs us for the operations of the city. Gas, the same thing. But the minimum is minimal. We try to keep those down because, I mean, this way you have control over at least of what you use. And I'll tell you, in the winter time, sometimes the people, rather freeze that then either. Because they can't afford it. And that's why Mayor Sanchez had the Love Thy Neighbor Foundation. And we would help people that were taking wood, and he would help, we would help them with a bill. If they needed help with a building, we were there to help them. I don't know who's there now.
I don't think that committee exists anymore because it was under, well, the other people that were running it, yeah. Yeah, those times.
Well,
And as far as it goes for gas rates, those are regulated by PRC as well, so.
Well, just, just like he says, we're buffers for the people, not for the people ask. I don't know why they're, when we don't even use that, I'm single and live by myself, or I'm not getting that. Those are the things that I question. Just like I think somebody got their trash can stolen, the city wanted to charge them for the trash can. Well, he filed a police report. So it is not his trash can, it's the city's, because they're the ones that are charging them to fill the trash. So those are types of good regulations that we look at as well.
And I used to have my trash can busted and I wanted a new one. And they were gonna charge me $100 and I said, I'll just keep my trash can. And I mean, I work for the city, but still, I'm like, I feel that.
But those are the types of things that people ask questions about. I can see if you purchase the trash can, then it is yours, and you should have to replace it if not the service for it. It's just a round and round thing that that people ask questions.
so what's the direction of this one?
I'd say it's gotta continue. I would not want to vote on it yet.
I think that, I'm gonna recommend that we table the last 4 items on the agenda. And more information is brought to, to the committee, and then we'll make a recommendation next meeting.
Motion that one? I'll second that motion.
You can't make the most of it.
Okay.
You understand that it's still go to the concept tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we'll put it up or down.
Yes, sir.
Those excuse me? Those 4 items won't be going to council until the second meeting in May, which is the 15th, but it still will be before the next utility committee meeting.
So it works.
Till next.
June.
Hold on, next one, hold on, this week. Not tomorrow, but hold on, next day.
Yeah, but it'll be before the city, but council, but not before us. Until June.
You said in June, right, is when it goes back to council?
No, it's going back to council for public hearing and adoption on the 15th. And our next meeting won't be until June the 11th.
Then you gotta lead up to that.
No, we'll hear it next Wednesday.
Oh.
We'll hear it next Wednesday.
Yes, council will hear it on the 15th of May.
Well,
No,
I thought it was, I thought I had it, but she said that it is sent for publication.
Well, I kind of disagree. I thought that if we tabled it, it wouldn't go in front of the council. We'd strike it from the agenda for the council meeting, but
I agree.
what's the use in doing that if we're not gonna recommend it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go to the council.
I don't,
The only thing is that the utilities director would have to just tell mayor and council that that area in the state of acts. Utilities.
that's,
They're still acting on it.
that's one.
Because it's a recommendation.
Yeah,
But
not an
you gotta
action,
take
not a
action.
motion. Can't.
You got
You guys gotta take the action. You don't just recommend. Right. I still stand with my.
Okay. Then move to during the meeting. at 2:55.
We don't even need a motion.
There weren't any comments, anything like that, we're good to go?
As I thought we did one at comment, but
It's made a lot of sense. It really does. Everything was discussed with them makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, we didn't go through the discussion item, monthly report. We could,
There's a monthly report in here for you guys, over okay for you guys can.
If you don't mind, have it.
let's strike the time for adjourning and we'll go back to the discussion items. So we'll go to the monthly report. Travis, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir, if you guys want me to,
Go through.
as the monthly reports I have here, I have for the different types of, departments, is there anywhere you guys want me to start, or?
Just anything of note?
Right now, I'll start with project management. The pressure reducing, valve, the PRV project. The contractor completed its final tie-in on Edana Road. Pipestone adjusted the new PRV, New Image has requested the final walkthrough now on Thursday. It's this Thursday, so that project is gonna be up for completion. Hot Springs water line, we installed the gate, 30-inch casing across the road. They backfilled as we've already, poured the concrete and the asphalt. We got the road open. They are gonna be doing the tie-ins here in either this week or next week. They were gonna be doing tie-ins. On that, New Mexico and Rio Arriba Street, the contractor has completed all asphalt patching and they begin the clear up work of the area. And the final walkthrough is scheduled for this week. Customer service, we're just trying to promote the online bill paying, the drop boxes, mail payments, and we're trying to. I did an assessment with customer service. And we are trying to work on our communication better. Sitting out there with customer service, the girls pick up the phone. They start with the girls. Well, they start with the customer. All three of the girls are there. They're working. They're doing their job. But as they're dealing with the customer, we're getting 15 calls by the time they're done with one. So when they hang up, they get the next one. So we do get the report a lot that nobody's answering, but it's that we're helping the customers and.
And they're qualified to.
Yes, sir.
That's part of their job.
And right now we are looking to hire one more person that's within the budget for just straight customer service and getting him over to the people that we need to alleviate a lot of this other stuff. So we are working on communication.
Is there anybody within the people who look at position?
Right now, everybody's already at that position. We have to open a new one just to alleviate a lot of this stuff. The field customer service guys, of course, they're working on the door tags. They're testing water meters. They're doing the AMR exchanges, wastewater, where they just worked with Comey and Associates on SCADA. They have the new lighting installed in the UV control room. The lighting was repaired at Headworks building inside and outside. The submersible pumps were installed at the plant mains, some. And I didn't put this on here, but to let you guys know, working with Parks and Recs on effluent water, we did do a schedule on when what parks get watered on what days. So we broke that down throughout the whole week. And that has alleviated a lot of stress on the plant itself. So by breaking every park up throughout the week, we're able to keep the water and the tanks full as well as water throughout the city. No issue on the plant. And of course, gas department, they're doing their safety, their fast training, they're doing their AMRs. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing the leaks while they're conducting the leak survey. It started on the transmission line. Gas division owns from Colmore Rank Station, 52 miles worth of 8-inch gas main that comes all the way down to Mullins, that's where the gate station is at. So it takes about a week for them to do that leak survey. The lake survey is where they survey the lines that they pick up underground leaks. When they start here in town, you'll see a truck that has snippers on the bottom, and you'll see the guys walking. Not only do they monitor the underground lines, they also monitor the meters and everything. So that's part of the whole survey. Usually, it used to take around 2 to 3 weeks, but now they're being more thorough, the third party. So it'll take maybe about 2 months. And of course, they do their valve inspections and their maintenance. Solid waste, I am working with solid waste on on keeping the station going. We got the 2 trucks back and running. I have 1 guy transporting all day. We talked to Arthur Regional Landfill. Jonathan is the owner. I've been in communication with him almost every day. He calls and he lets me know if he does have to shut down or when he doesn't. His times are from 6 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. We do have 1 driver, so as the driver goes and takes the truck, the other guys get the truck and they load it for him. So when he gets back, he jumps off the truck, gets on the other one, and he takes off. Right now we are on routes on all of them. We've been having an issue, well, I shouldn't say an issue, but one of the employees has cancer and he goes to chemo every weekend. So there are times where he does call in and other drivers are having to not just finish their route, but picking up his route. So I know there is a delay in some and we are working on it. But until I can get some more drivers out there, that's kind of the delay we have. And I just wanted you guys know, that guy is going through cancer. He is a hell of a driver. I've been with him, but I can't really do much when you're going through something like that. So we are actually going to be working on catching up on a lot of their stuff. I am working with staff and Travis Hearn on doing picking up the trash at solid waste facility itself. These guys have helped me 1 day. I'm trying to see if we could do another day. I'm trying to budget for a piece of equipment that is just basically for the field where they hook it to a truck and it goes and it just picks up the trash as they drive. We do have plans to get their doors worked on, fixed. Their building needs maintenance, and that's a lot of stuff that we already have planned and we plan on doing. Water distribution,
Before you get that, is there any amnesty days?
yes, we are working on those. Water distribution, you want to take the lead on your division?
Well, in the past couple of months, actually, we've done a few line replacements. We installed 400 feet of fused PVC on South Commerce Street. And we abandoned 400 feet of finished galvanized line that we've always had issues with. We installed 500 feet of 2-inch PVC on 700 block of Peckle Street and abandoned galvanized line. Found out that galvanized line was only fed by a 1-inch copper line. So now it's full 2-inch. We increase pressure to the residents. It's there. We've been transferring all the old galvanized water services, updating them to copper, which helps us with our lead copper project that we're doing. We're starting a new line replacement here on Rio Riba and Mexico. We started that on the 1st. That's about 350 feet. We're almost completed installing the line, which is going to do our back piece of pressure test and start transferring our service to update. And that'll help us with our lead and copper also. Let's see what else we got here. We have a couple of asphalt patches that we're trying to work with the streets department to get completed. We're planning those out. They are going to need a traffic control permit from DOT, so we're going to have to help out with that. Our PRB project, we're going to do a special completion on May 9th with Johnny. We're going to walk each and every PRB that we've done. Make sure everything's up to par, everything's up Or like. We're doing a lot of our hydrant maintenance. We're doing flushing hydrants. Trying to improve the water quality of the system. So if you see a bunch of water flowing on the road, usually from flushing hydrants.
What stage are we in?
Zero. We're at zero.
What, do you use to have it?
Yeah, well,
Oh, once you pass your minimum amount of gallons, or you mean your maximum amount of gallons, and you go into the next bracket, it sends you that.
and then speaking of the line thing, gas division just installed 500 feet on Williams Drive for a new service. And as they were actually installing the line, we got 3 potential customers that want to also hook up to that line. Wastewater, we want to give a shout out because gas division, wastewater, and Travis sent us a guy too. And we were able to install or fix the manhole over there on customer service on Mills Avenue. And our water treatments, everybody's favorites. The monthly compliance samples, you know, they picked up 15 back keys. They sent the PSAs out with fresh hydrants. They obtained free total chlorine residual on location for minimal use of the potable water. They did their monthly compliance sampling. We did the quarterly. The compliance reports are done monthly and are due by the 10th of everything. Peterson Reservoir has approximately 130 acre feet of raw water available. There's 200 acre feet altogether, but there's only so much water that we can use in the reservoirs. Then we have the Bradner Reservoir that has 300 acre feet of raw water. We have not been using out of that. We did have a customer complaints the other day when we did have a broken line, and that was on South Gonzales. The Acequia's contractor broke through one of the fire suppression lines for the city of Las Vegas, or West Las Vegas. So of course, you know, protocol dictates once we get the line, we did isolate it. We did let the customer know that that was between the contractor and the customer, that we had no ties to that water line, that was not city property. We did a flush around. We did have a customer that came in the next day and they said that their kid had a rash from the water. So once I found out and I met with them, I had water treatment plant go pick up that special back key sample, and we had an analysis on it, and it came back absence of everything. We just did the comprehensive performance report. We actually just submitted to it, and right now the state actually wants to meet in person about it. So we will be scheduling with the state and meeting on our CPD and see which way they want to go about it.
So you don't know if it's good or bad?
So right now,
I mean, I'm talking about the meeting, is it good news or bad news?
So right now, of course, the old director was taking care of these. This was the first time I had did it. So as I went through with it, they were, from what they told me, they were like, so you're actually looking into progressing, or are you guys fighting with us, or, because they got a totally different response from what previously, and they just want to verify that, you know, that we're actually going to be moving forward and we have stuff that we need to take care of up there, which I've already did an assessment and I have turned it up to the city managers for his reports and stuff like that. And like I said, you know, I went through the plant and I went through the CPE. I understood exactly what we needed and stuff like that. And they have been asking for equipment, and some of this equipment's not cheap. We've got $60,000-$70,000 piece of equipment that we do need to analyze our water better. And the state is making us do it because of some operator failures in the past, and of course the water that we're also dealing with. And that's where it's coming. And they said it's not a bad meeting, just so that you know. It's just that finally I guess their points come across. And honestly, I'm the here and now kind of guy, because I understand we do have a project for our future water plant. But, you know, in order to get us to our future water plant now here, it needs upgrades in order to get us to the future.
In order so that we can survive to drink that water.
Yes, sir. The water's still good to drink. It's still good to drink.
Yeah.
And that's it for the monthly report for all of the utilities. And of course, there's your work orders, your customer service, your field service work orders, solid waste. It tells you everything up at the top. If you want me to go through it, I can. But
Just one, they're on Baca. What's the?
Baca.
Roberts, fourth and fifth.
Oh, that's not us.
5th and 6th.
That's Public Works. They're replacing a storm drain there. I worked on that project, and before I left, they had already installed all the storm drain. They had already installed one manhole. They were working on the other manhole, which all they should need are just a drop in. It's not. That's my take on it. That's the project going on there. And the reason that project was taking place was because 5th and 6th, or the 6th and, no, 5th and 6th, you know how every time it rained,
Yes, sir.
it was like a big lake, and those people, even though you have your sidewalk that's 8 inches high, your curb, which it's way out of any compliance, but the water was filling up over and there was no drainage. So in order to remediate a lot of that, that's why that storm drain was replaced.
There was drainage, the contractor messed it up. No, we're fixing it.
It wasn't damaged by the contractor.
Because drainage from before. System,
And it always took a long time to drain and
no,
So the storm drain is on the other side of the road.
It was found that existing drainage, like profile, was so highly impacted with sediment from them not being made.
I have pictures. So what we did is when we took,
Arnold said that the previous contractor had damaged the pipe, and that's going to, that problem created.
That's what he was trying to put fingers at, so we can pay for it to get it fixed.
so when we took off when they went and they excavated the storm drain and they started to remove the storm drain right there on 7th Street, well, the storm drain coming down to 6th Street. When we took that off, it only had about 3 inches of clearance. The rest was all sediment. And that's from 6th Street going down all the way to 7th Street. And as these guys were pulling out the storm drain, it really wasn't that full of sediment, but there was a lot of, they pulled out a skunk and a lot of dead rodents from in there. It was pretty disgusting, but yeah,
I saw the roots in there.
yeah. And then the thing about those drop inlets is they're so old that they didn't have any catch basins or anything. So everything that went in actually went in and got stuck in the storm drain.
We have clay pipe.
It was clean.
I know the tornado problem.
So right there now with the new drop inlet and the new storm drain, and we did check that on 5th Street, it's not that bad as far as sediment goes. So that will be able to, I believe it'll be able to drain there.
I wanna throw my 2 cents in your report. You know, I took the city manager up there to the solid waste, to the transfer station, that's 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And you could spend, you could take 100 people every day and still not pick up the trash.
We picked up about 70 of those big bags in a matter of an hour, and we didn't even.
Actually, it was the same thing. He said, you know, you can spend all the hours you want picking up trash here. Because I'm the one that kind of complained that, you know, neighbors are complaining to me about the trash.
Yes, sir.
And so we need to see this problem because it's not the trash problem, it's a running the show problem. The doors are messed up, lighting, there's so much dirt on the lighting, you can't even see. The concrete has been broken this much, the walls have been getting lumpy. I mean, it's just the last 20 years of just neglect and the equipment is a mess. And, so I had a meeting with the manager and he's working on it, so I'm sure he's, I don't know how they're doing on that. But there's gotta be a plan in place to fix all that because it's, as long as they keep throwing the trash outside the trailers, you're gonna have a problem. There's no belts, and their belts and fix that concrete is broken up. There's where the trash flows directly in, and the doors ain't shut down, closed down, and the wind goes in one door and goes, trash goes out the other. It's, you got issues.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
issues up there. But, and then the payment to the potholes and all that stuff. It's bad. But, you know what?
And that's where I was getting, well, that, like I said, I did my assessment, and that's why I was telling you guys, the building's pretty much the main one that we do have to fix. And like Montoya said, we do need the doors, we do need the siding. There's a lot of concrete that's chipped, and the tipping floor on the edge is pretty much already gone, which the tipping floor comes over, gets thrown into the trailer, but since it's broken 2 feet before where we need it, as they're throwing the trash is falling between the truck and the trailer, and
It
There's
was a kind of a bad design in a sense.
Yeah.
At the beginning. But, you know, the thing is that if nobody takes that to mayor and council, and mayor and council's not gonna be out there checking.
exactly.
So it's far away from us. So we need to invest some money in this now in July. We need to assign some money to that.
And
So for whatever plans you guys come up with, or whatever design or whatever needs to do to improve the doors, the lighting, whatever it is, let us know because it is a problem. It is a safety issue, and the neighbors are complaining. And that's it. I mean, I understand transfer stations that are dirty and stuff like that, and trash, of course. But I'll tell you, there's other problems because you know what I know? There's people call me all the time.
you should.
Now, I have my trailer full of trash. Need 4 days. And as a trailer owner, for a few trailers, I hate my trailer to be full. Because when I need it, I need it. And these people that call me, well, they're in the same boat. But there's a lot of other issues. For instance, that day we were there was a 3-axle trailer. Dumping. No tendon, no nothing. And we finished this dumping and they went all over the dumper. That's how poor it was. We might as well throw it outside.
Does that mean there's build a new one or add to that one?
The thing right
It's
now,
complicated because they give you so much room and they give you so many days to dump it and they can't. Once it's full, you gotta shut it down. That's other issues. But this is what I'm saying. Like this guy, I asked him, out of curiosity, I told him, are you coming from the county or the city? He said, the city. I said, well, where is it in the city? Is that trash coming? It was like an 18-foot trailer. And he goes, I pick up trash from Muslim people and I come and take it. So that puts me to think, number one, does he have a business license? Number two, how much is he charging each customer? He has 20 customers. Number three, is he using his bill from his house to dump it over there? So he's getting free tipping.
Do you know who the chairman is?
I didn't ask no questions.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what was going
I
on.
just,
Yeah.
Let's see, it's
I don't
up to-
know, if nobody's telling me,
No, but I'm telling you, that it's up to the attendant to be able to monitor that or ask questions or to fix the problem there. No, that's all I'm saying. So we're listing out on money.
Well, not only that, do we still have our contractors, the contractors dumping there? Are they taking it to White Moon? the ones that are working for FEMA that are claiming branches and stuff too?
We're not taking no branches right now. Over there.
Yeah.
That has to go to. Like, off.
But there's a lot of, I'm just saying, you need to come up with a plan or something and include it in this next year's budget, because, that's the only way those problems are gonna get solved.
And that's what we did. We took into account and we budgeted for that building to fix a lot of that stuff that Mr. Montoya just spoke of.
And that door that DOT messed up, well, charge him, fix it, pay it for it.
So as a matter of fact, according to safety, they said that we paid it now. I gotta find where that money went. And I asked, well, I gotta call Desiree back, but I gotta figure out the exact amount that was paid, because
To me, if you need another wall that goes all the way around the building and back up, so when all that trash is picked up at the bottom and it's sticking over there, it flies all the way out. Like then you get up here, probably have half a bucket for still in the field.
yeah,
But if you need like another alleyway enclosed to get up to the top or something like that, I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but there's something needs to happen. You have a lost battle, period. Lost battle.
yes, sir.
It's a war zone. It is.
Yeah.
No, but it is.
I'm hoping with a lot of the changes that we make up there, especially with the building and stuff, that we can alleviate a lot of this.
And maybe even some walls, fence walls, will deteriorate some of that.
Right now, we actually have a contractor that's waiting on materials for a chain fence at the top. So that way we can start putting it around and start catching the trash to prevent it from getting further into the.
Like those nettings at the ballparks, those would be more higher. Black netting,
Yeah,
put some poles and put some black netting like that, that will hold some trash out. 8-foot, 10-foot chain link fence.
It's hard to keep trash off chain link fence.
Really hard.
That's the base.
yeah.
But if you do that netting, front of that chain link,
Why a vacuum? I don't know. Is there something on that? I don't know. You get a big vacuum truck that can go vacuum in it all. I don't know.
And like I said, we did a budget. There's a trailer that you get hooked up to a truck, like I said, and they pull it in the field. And all it does is it just goes along the top and it picks up the trash. And as it's going, it tumbles and it throws the trash behind it. There's a big drum that they have. So that's something that we were looking into purchasing for the field. You know what I mean? Because someone could just go be driving all day long picking up the trash with that little, well, it's not a little trailer, it's a big trailer, but to alleviate a lot of stuff up there at the waste, at the solid waste.
Because it's heartbreaking to see that we have to pull people from other departments
It's
to
been
go
hard.
and catch up and to go do somebody else's job.
It's hard.
We're already thinning out employees in our departments as it is. And we're already working.
If there was another CDL driver, we could run 2 trucks.
There, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I am looking for one more CDL driver because instead of, we haul 3 times a day. Well, that's as fast as we can get 1 truck. Which we're keeping up with the trash as of now, but if there's 2 trucks, we can move 6 loads a day, which will keep up with some of the trash, because when I went out there and I worked with him, by the time the truck goes and comes back, the other trucks that are en route, the trash already accumulated.
But you can't even contract a load or 2 loads a day to somebody else.
Oh, we're actually working on that. I got a
There's people
contractor.
that do that stuff.
I'm meeting a contractor on Wednesday
Yeah.
to see if he'll go out there because he wants to be that solid waste. So I'm gonna go meet with him and see if I can contract with him to do a couple loads a week to help us. So he wants to meet me out there on Wednesday tomorrow, so I'm gonna meet with him and hopefully we can get him. I have met with 2 other previous contractors and they're willing to work, but they want to use our equipment. They don't have trucks or anything. Well, they have trucks, they just don't have the trailers.
the insurance.
the city insurance, especially from the city. And they
Whatever
said
it
that,
takes, something needs to get done because I'll tell you, the phone don't stop every Wednesday, every Tuesday. You pick up my trash.
Yeah.
You pick up my trash every week. So very late. And what happens is that they're late, you have lids open, people go to work, they put the trash out there, the lids open, the crows come, and the trash is at the neighbors over there, and it's a mess.
Almost.
You know, if you say Wednesday, I mean, that's the service you're free for. It's Wednesday, not Thursday. Thursday I'm out of town. Guess what? My trash then got stolen. Why? Because I was out of town. I need to pick it up on Wednesday. You pick it up on Thursday. So, you know, I think it's a lot of trouble.
Or for trash.
You know, that's what I gotta hear from, that's what I gotta hear from customers.
no, I get it.
You know,
and
my councilman, there, my trash
it's,
blowing all over the place. My trash
And-
hasn't been picked up.
it's
very
hard
cool.
when I get an employee that, that calls in and we have other employees that have to do their plus more, so. I am looking to get another 2 or 3 more, CDL drivers, but
But what if we use that excuse in every department? We put locks in the PD. Like if you have an animal shelter. Looks on the gates and say, call me for an appointment. You know, I can't be doing that. You gotta have business open, we're open for business,
exactly.
so. The people, they're paying for the service. And they receive the service. I'm sorry, but I'm touchy about that, because you know what, we charge a lot as it is, and people are sacrificing other stuff for paying the city.
Yes, sir.
And then we go back to $7 shorter period of time for them to pay. And it's-
And taking away the house.
But yeah. But yeah, no, like I said, we are meeting with the contractor tomorrow, so hopefully that can alleviate a lot of other stuff that we have going on up there. Because the more we move the trash, the more we can put trash. But right now, I've been actually reading up on their permits and everything, and there is a lot of work that needs to be taking place.
You just have a cleaner up there.
On tires?
Oh, they're- No,
No, but he's talking about throwing the trash into the machine, and then it does actually, that was being looked into, and that was pretty much out of the budget. Even a new tipping forward, if we were to do a new tipping forward that's brought up to spec, we're looking at about $2 million.
Which might be something that you can propose to the legislature.
And that's actually something that I was working with our grant writer, because he was asking me, stuff to see where we can go out for some funding, so. As a matter of fact, we have, old proposals and stuff like that, so I was trying to gather some information to get in here on the tipping forward. So if we could get something like that, I mean, that would be a whole new facility, basically. But until we can get some of that funding, that's something I would like to chase in the near future.
Oh, the recorder holding no.
Still going? There is still, buddy. But that's it for my monthly report, gentlemen.
Okay, I guess we can kind of skip project status, that's kind of gone through already, so we'll go to announcements, any announcements?
I have two. One, I guess we had appointed Morris McGee to this committee, and he's in problem. So I believe that the charter don't allow employees to be in the committees. So he's a part of the city employees now, so he won't be reporting here. And then the other one is, there is, gonna be there's gonna be on May 11th over at, new line from 10 to 6 of the volunteer fire department in Sheridan. There's gonna be a FEMA, and anybody can go and claim their losses, proof of losses for smoke damage or evacuation or anything like that. So, we didn't have a chance before. They did it last Saturday at the park, Plaza Park, and they got over $1 million in compensation that they're gonna give out to people. So, there's another opportunity, right?
A good shot in the arm to the city. You too? That's not a good shot in the arm to the city if they spend it here.
Maybe they'll pay their gas bills.
Maybe they'll pay the gas back.
Oh, no, I gotta go to the casino first.
Maybe they have a gas bill over there too.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Councilman Montoya. All right, any other announcements? Member comments, Mike Martinez,
No.
Travis, Rudy. Okay, let's adjourn the meeting at 3:31 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, sir.